Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Triple N Media. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM, a cardiologist from Houston, Texas. I have been practicing cardiology since 1980. It is almost 42 years. So, I am going to give you an overview of what it takes to be a cardiologist or a specialist in one of the cardiology subjects. So let us begin with the feature presentation. So you want to be a cardiologist. So you are in your junior or senior high school year. You have been attracted to becoming a cardiologist. And what does it take to become a full-fledged cardiologist? Let's dive deep into the topic. By the time you complete your high school, you're 18 years old. Then you're going to finish 3 to 4 years of college, which will take you to age 22. After that, you hopefully get selected one of the Ivy League medical schools because you have a great scholarship. Then you spend another 4 to 5 years in a medical school to complete your medical school training. So that is as far as the educational part of the training is concerned. After that, we go into postgraduate training, which is basically done in the hospital. You go through internal medicine residency program for 3 years. By this time, you're 30 years old. Then you do general cardiology, which is generally 3 years. That will bring you to age 33. And some people may go into subspecialty cardiology topics, which I will talk in a minute, which can be ranging from 1 to 2 years. So that will put you into age 35. And once you have finished your basic medical school education and finish your full-fledged training, it takes at least 5 to 6 years to establish your practice, and by the time you are an established cardiologist, you may be close to 40 years. Don't despair. You got a whole life ahead of you to do what you really wanted to do in your whole life, and that is serve patients with your cardiovascular expertise. Okay, let's talk about the subspecialty training which I mentioned in the previous slide. There are numerous subspecialty options available in cardiology. The most important ones which I'm going to talk about are a subspecialization in echocardiography, which may involve 1 to 2 years of training, where you become trained as a level 3 echocardiographer, will be able to do transesophageal echocardiography and be able to lead a department of echocardiography. Similarly, we have a nuclear cardiology, which is a totally different field in the non-invasive cardiology. Here you can take nuclear cardiology boards and become like the department head of a nuclear cardiology if they have a separate program as such. The nuclear cardiology involves a camera, which is quite expensive, ranging anywhere from $300,000 to $500,000. An echocardiography machine can cost you up to $150,000 if you're trying to set up these in your office. That's something you need to keep in mind. All right, there are other interventional specializations, namely cardiac interventional cardiology, where you do coronary stents, you do heart catheterizations and pacemakers, things like that. And then is also the structural heart disease, which is a totally different field, looking at the structure of the heart, like doing aortic valve replacement using catheters or mitral valve clips, among many other things. Then we also have the electrophysiology, which sort of comes in the same field, that is looking at electrical activity of the heart, terminating rapid heart rhythms, and also putting pacemakers and defibrillators. So that's a totally different specialty. All right, so when the subspecialties may take anywhere from 2 to 2 years, there are other sort of multimodality subspecialties like CT, MRI, or MRA, which looks at the heart size, the heart function, the heart texture, all these different things, including circulation to the heart muscle, and that is an imaging modality specialty. Once you have finished all your training, next thing is, what do you do? Either you can join a hospital group and become a part of a hospital team serving the people in that particular hospital, or you can join a or start your own office in a medical office building next to adjacent to a hospital and set up your own practice. You see patients in your office and also you see patients in the hospital. You do your procedures in the office and in the hospital also. Okay, now let's talk about if you were to set up your practice as a solo practitioner, which is quite a daunting task given the current environment, because most of the primary doctors are owned by the hospitals where your referrals come from, and most of the hospitals have already taken over 60 to 70% of the cardiology practices. As a result, your chances of surviving are going to be quite challenging. It's not impossible, but it's going to be quite challenging. In addition to that, the cost of running a cardiology practice is astronomical. The cost could be ranging anywhere from 50 to 75% of your gross income. Why? As I told you before, the echocardiography machine, the nuclear cardiology machine, and the equipment and the number of staff you need to run a private office is just huge, and that's something we need to take into consideration. The other option is for 3 or 4 cardiologists to get together and form a small group, and again, group, you still face the same challenge of getting referrals. So I don't mean to discourage you, because as I said, I started my cardiology practice in 1980 as a solo practitioner here in Houston, Texas. I started off at the Southwest Memorial Hospital. I spent most of my time at the Texas Medical Center working with one of the finest cardiologists and cardiac surgeons like Denton Cooley, Michael DeBakey. I worked at both Methodist and St. Luke's hospitals. I truly enjoyed what I have done in the past 42 years, and I continue to work part-time cardiology jobs, and I would not trade that for anything else in my life. So that is an important thing. In fact, my son is also an interventional cardiologist, NIK NIKAM, and he practices with a hospital group in San Antonio, Texas. So if you are thinking about a cardiology field or a career, let me explain to you what it takes. It takes commitment. It takes lifetime commitment. It is not something that you just do for 4 years, get a degree, and then say, oh, I am done. No, that's not it. That is just the beginning of the journey to the Mount Everest. And you never stop, you never look backwards, and you always be optimistic and you go forward. And that's the way to do it, and that's how I have done it. I have truly enjoyed my journey as a cardiologist, which started in 1978. I did 2 years of fellowship at Henry Ford Hospital. Then I decided to come to Houston because I like Houston, the weather, especially compared to Detroit. Back in 1980, when I was in Detroit, there were bumper stickers saying, "The last person to leave town, would you please turn the lights off?" As a matter of fact, I haven't been to Detroit since I left Detroit in 1980, but that's another story. But I truly enjoy being in this hot and humid weather of Houston and still practicing cardiology and talking about cardiology. If you would like me to prepare another presentation of importance to you, please leave some comments and I'll be happy to do the research and do the presentation. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM, a cardiologist from Houston, Texas. I have been a member of the Texas Medical Association for more than 42 years. Have a good day.